Good?
Yeah, I have like 20.
Okay, so today's program is about mining for gold, how to build a killer database for your business. What's interesting is that if you look at all of the highest producing real estate agents in almost any market and ask them the 2 or 3 things they do that make the biggest impact in their business, one of those things is that the higher producing agents have a database. The database is your gold. That's what is going to predict your future in the business. Those are the people that are going to consistently buy, sell, and refer business to you in the coming years. So we're going to talk about how to build a killer database so that you're consistently staying in front of your friends, family, acquaintances, and past clients, and putting all that information somewhere so that you can consistently market to them. So as I mentioned, the database is your gold mine. If you want to have a saleable asset, which is totally possible in this business, the only possible way to have a saleable asset is going to be a database of people. By having a database, eventually you will be at a spot where you no longer have to chase the next deal, so that you always have people coming back to you, and you get into a conversation, like a long-term conversation with people that you want to do business with. So today we're going to talk about the difference between building a strategy versus a tactic. The difference between the two is many real estate agents start to build a database. They do all the right things for their business. They chase leads, they door knock, they tell everybody they know that they're in real estate. And then what happens is you start getting deals. The problem is that when you start getting deals, many real estate agents stop doing all the stuff that caused them to get the deals. And then 3 months goes by, they close all of their deals, and then they say, okay, now I have to start working on my database again. And that's why I say some agents treat their database as a tactic, something that they go and work on every once in a while, whereas great real estate agents make their database just part of their strategy in their business every single day. Like a piece of every day is just built around what am I doing with my database, updating the database, taking people out of the database, adding people. Every day we're meeting new people. So it's a great opportunity to say, oh, I met so-and-so today. I'm going to stick them into my database so that I can consistently be marketing to them. So we're going to talk about today just building a 3 to 5 year reach back strategy so that you can start building this massive customer database of raving fans who want to work with you, instead of having a database that's just a tactic that every once in a while you go back to and start adding people to. So according to surveys, 75 to 80% of people surveyed after closing would use their agent again. This is interesting. So think about that. Every time you sell a house, when they survey that person right after closing, 75 to 80% of those people would work with their real estate agent again. However, in reality, less than 10% of buyers and sellers use the same real estate agent the next time around. So that's crazy. We know that 70 and 80% liked working with their person and they would work with that person again, yet less than 10% of people do. So whose fault is that? Is it the customer, or is it that we're just not following up with people or staying in touch? So think about that, because one of the things I've tried to coach agents on is we have so many real estate agents that go out and invest heavily in buying like Zillow leads and Realtor.com leads. And we have agents paying anywhere from $600 a month to $2,500 a month for these lead services because they want ongoing leads. And yet many of these same agents have not even invested at all in building a database of people who cost nothing to get them to refer business in. One customer well taken care of could be more valuable than $10,000 worth of advertising. So like I say to these agents, if you took just a small fraction of that money that you were spending on Zillow leads or Realtor.com leads, and you did like a mailing to the people who already know, like, and trust you, because a lead coming off of Zillow is very different than a lead that was personally referred to you. They already know, like, and trust you because they've already heard about you, they have a friend that has worked with you, or they've worked with you in the past. So instead of investing heavily in these lead sources where they're going to give you a very cold client that really has zero loyalty to you at all, invest a tiny, tiny fraction of that into staying in front of the people that already know, like, and trust you. And before long, you'll have a massive database of people who want to send you business. So let's talk about why only 10% of people end up working with their agent the second time around. It's interesting, and I share this story at a lot of our classes, that I live in a neighborhood and there's about 9 houses, and those 9 houses are all about 7 or 8 years old. And at a cookout last year, I was talking to all the agents, so I mean all of the people that live in the neighborhood, and I asked them, who is the agent that sold you the house? And there was only one that could remember the name of their agent. That's crazy. That's crazy. Out of all of these people that, and if you think about it, so now many of these people have been in their houses 8 or 9 years. They're prime. Somebody in my neighborhood's going to end up moving, and none of them remember the name of their real estate agent. So what you don't want to be is the real estate agent that forgets the customer after you close. You send them a nice gift or a card after closing, and then they don't hear from you again for 5 years or 7 years. You want to set up a campaign so that you're constantly staying in touch with those people so they don't forget about you. On the other hand, there's opportunity here, because there are neighborhoods, millions of neighborhoods out there with people who have no idea who their real estate agent is. So on the one hand, it's a lesson in that you don't want to be that agent that does not have a strong database. And number 2, you do want to be the agent that goes out and capitalizes on that and says, I'm not going to be the average agent. I understand that there's tons of neighborhoods where people have no loyalty to a particular agent, and I'm going to go out and market to that. Just a cool stat, there's a customer loyalty report that came out, and it said that companies on average lose more than 50% of their customers each year, and that it costs 20 times more to do business with a new customer than with an existing customer. And that definitely applies to our business. So it's going to cost you 20 times more to do business with a brand new customer than it would just taking really good care and staying in touch with the people who already know, like, and trust you. For every $1 that you spend on a current customer, it would cost you $20 to cultivate a new one. So think about that every time you start having closings. Like, what is the campaign I'm going to put people into so that I'm not having to spend an extra 20 times more to collect customers? So the number one mistake many real estate agents make, and I will tell you, there are millions of real estate agents. There are definitely real estate agents in our own company that do not have a database. And all of their business, like, they're constantly, literally always chasing for the next deal. Do they occasionally get referrals? Yes, because you're always going to have some people that just remember to do business with you, especially if you recently did business with them. But over the long term, it's no way to build a business. You have to build that database, realize that that is the asset you have as an entrepreneur, building your own real estate business. Marketer Dan Kennedy says 95% of customers forget who they worked with in the past. 68% of customers don't feel appreciated and simply don't go back. So be the agent that appreciates people, be the agent that follows up with people long after the transaction has closed. So for anybody that's watching this, what I want you to think about is how many times have you touched your past clients in the past 12 months. So if you had 20 closings in the last 12 months, how many times have you realistically reached out to them? A card, a phone call, an email, a text message, just reaching out. That's the number one. I want you to think about, where is your database housed? So there should be a place somewhere where you can easily access the names, address, phone numbers, emails, maybe a birth date of your customers. And you want it to be housed in a place that makes it fairly easy to sort. So you can find all the people that, for example, bought a house from you versus all the people that are your acquaintances, etc. So there are a bunch of different places to find a database. We have lots of free options right within LAER. The number one place that every agent has access to is the LAER marketing portal. So the LAER marketing portal is a place where you can organize your entire database. You can put people into email campaigns, etc. Also, many of our agents have the Boston Logic agent website platform that also has a place where you can organize your database, put people into email campaigns, and if all else fails, simply have a spreadsheet. So one of the things I try to tell real estate agents is that if the technology overwhelms you, and if you feel like learning the LAER marketing portal CRM system is just too much, although I'll say it's so simple, takes 15 minutes to learn it, but if just any type of technology scares you, a great place to put your database is just simply a spreadsheet, a simple spreadsheet where you keep track of all of your clients so that you can easily print out mailing labels, etc. So as you're thinking about your strategy moving forward and thinking about how many touches you've made to your clients in the past 12 months, so all the people that bought from you in, say, the last year or 5 years or 10 years, how many times have you reached out to them in the last 12 months? And then I want you to honestly ask yourself that, based on that information, would you buy from you again? So knowing the number of times you've reached out, just pick a particular client within your database of people you know and say, if I were that guy, would I buy from me again? Because oftentimes the answer is probably going to be no. If you closed on a transaction 3 years ago and you haven't reached out to that client in 3 years, it's pretty easy for another real estate agent to scoop in and pick them up. Other real estate agents are on Facebook, they're getting introduced, they're people's next door neighbors. Don't make it easy for your customers to have a reason to work with somebody else. So the great opportunity for all of us is that most businesses are so terrible at consistent marketing to their database that it's an opportunity for us. It also makes it super easy for us to stand out. One of our goals as real estate agents is to become raving fans, or to create raving fans, because when you have a raving fan, somebody that like talks about you when they're at their hairdresser and talks about you when they're out getting their car done, and when they hear the word real estate, they think about you. So how do we create these raving fans? By doing the stuff, by creating the database, staying in touch with our clients so that you always have top of mind awareness when that person hears about real estate or hears somebody's having a baby and they might want to expand their house. You want to create this unpaid sales force of people that are the ones that are willing to reach out and advocate on your behalf to create more business. So I want everybody to think about, like, what are the things you're doing to stay in front of your customers? You should be staying in in front of your customers at a minimum, your past customers and your database, your sphere of influence, your neighbors, your acquaintances. You should be staying in front of them 4 to 6 times a year. I want you to think about what are you doing to build an enduring relationship with those people so that you're keeping the conversation going for a long time. Be intentional. One of the most successful ways to wow people is to have the intention to wow them. So if you go into this intentionally, building your business and setting up a strategy, and your intention is to wow people 6 times a year, so they're like, wow, Stacy reached out to me again, or Stacy remembered that I love the Red Sox and sent me a little note with a Red Sox magnet. If you can do that consistently, you will be one of the 10, 20, or $30 million producers at LAER. So one thing I like to tell people when it comes to creating a strategy for staying in front of customers is I think it's a good idea to separate your database in some way. Coaches like Brian Buffini say it's simple as having like an A list and a B list. The A list are typically like people that just recently closed with you, or it is somebody that is a consistent referrer. So potentially it could be somebody that has never even purchased a house from you, but they refer you business constantly. Like you get calls out of the blue saying, oh, I was referred by so-and-so. That's somebody that should be on your A list. We're going to have a special campaign for them. A B list is kind of all the other people that you know, they're acquaintances, maybe they're really old customers, they haven't referred you any business in a while. The B list, we're still going to have a marketing campaign. It's just going to be a different marketing campaign. We're not going to spend so much in trying to wow those people. Our goal with that B list is just to create some top of mind awareness, because every once in a while, the B list, somebody from that B list will turn into an A list person. So our A list strategy, what I tell newer agents is to create a strategy. Begin today mapping out what you're going to do for your A-list over the next 3 years to wow them. It's as simple as touching them every 2 to 3 months. Either, like I said, a phone call or an email, or sending an item of value, which we'll talk about in a minute. And think about how you can wow people along the way. If 3 months go by without you wowing a past customer, then think about this, that the relationship is slowly beginning to die, and we don't want that to happen. So where people end up failing when it comes to creating this strategy is that, like I said, too many real estate agents look at their database like a tactic. So they'll say, okay, I'm going to organize my database. I'm going to get all my people into my database, and I'm going to send them a Halloween card or a Halloween item of value. And then I'm going to send them at the holiday time, I'm going to send them a holiday card. And then next January, I'll figure out the rest of my strategy. You are setting yourself up to fail, because eventually in this business, the goal is you're going to start doing real estate transactions, and you want to know exactly what your campaign is going to be. I also say, like, order your stuff out way ahead of time so that it's just going out, whether you're super busy or not super busy, or things happen in our lives. You don't want this campaign to stop, because the minute you stop, it's the beginning of the death of that relationship with the customer. So plan out what the 3 years is going to look like. Get out a calendar and say, on this date, this is what's going to happen with everybody on my A list. On this date, this is what's going to happen with everybody on my A list. Again, who is the A list? It's your past customers who like you, and it's the regular referrers, people that keep sending you business. Now, one of the things that I tell people to do is to do some chunky mailers throughout the year. So instead of just doing like a postcard that sometimes gets forgotten or thrown away, that for your A-list, some of the mailings throughout the year should be like an item of value. Yeah. Yeah, Roar Report is a great example of something to send out to people. But one of the things that I try to say to agents right at the outset, because many agents say, well, I don't have the money to do a mailing every single month, or it's going to be too expensive for me to buy an item of value every other month for everybody on my A list. So I just did like a quick comparison. Let's just say that you're doing like a really nice item of value and it costs you $6 per mailing. I mean, that's on the high end of doing something super nice for everybody on your A list. And let's just say that you do that 4 times a year for 3 years. You have 20 clients a year. So your A list doesn't have to be 10,000 people. You have a small A list. If you do 20 clients a year, you'll eventually be mailing to 60 people per year, 4 times a year at $6 each. That basically costs you about $120 per month. Eventually, to be doing 60 people a year at a $6 mailer. So this is high end. I'm only trying to overcome an objection that many people have in their head right off the bat. Let's just say it's 40 clients a year that you're doing this with. Then that's 40 clients a year. You'll eventually be mailing to 120 per year. That's $2,800 or $240 a month. So the point I'm trying to make here is that even if you're spending $120 a month or $240 a month just on mailers, which would be at the super high-end extreme of sending to your people, that's still way less expensive than what many of our agents are spending on lead programs. And it is so much more cost effective to spend that money on somebody that already knows that you're a great real estate agent. So when it comes to building a database and creating your strategy on how you're going to market to that database over the next 3 years, I say it's a good idea for your A-list to send a bumpy mailer every 3 months. A bumpy mailer is just something thick. It's not a postcard. It's not a letter. The reason behind it is that people always open bumpy mail. So if there's something, if they know there's something in that envelope, they're very likely to open it instead of just tossing it in the trash. And remember, it's about wowing people. Because you want, when you're at the hair salon getting your hair done and people are talking about buying or selling a house and you have a past customer sitting in a chair, that they say, oh yeah, this is who you should use. She's amazing. I just got this item from her this week. Instead of being one of the ones where their real estate agent has completely forgotten even what their name is.
Sorry, I have a question. So
yeah.
With sending things out, you can send anything, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So you don't want it to be super expensive. So for example, one of the things that I said, and by the way, you can, and I'll address this some more in a second, you can also just drop it off if you didn't want to go spend the money. If you have a smaller database, not a bad idea to drop it off. But there's a lot of things you can buy that are super inexpensive. So one of the things, we have a campaign right now, we just ordered branded Halloween bags. Super inexpensive and easy to fold out and put into a mailer, and that's something that if somebody has kids, they're going to want a Halloween bag anyways, that you could just do a mailer of Halloween bags to all of your clients that have kids, things like that. But yeah, it's going to be a mix of stuff. I just say if you have some of those mailers each year, that it's some sort of inexpensive item of value that makes it more likely that they are going to open it. So some of the items of value, by the way, Ann Silverman out of our Framingham office is phenomenal at coming up with different ideas for pop-by, like little inexpensive gifts to get people to remember you. I came up with some here, like for January, you could send out like little bird treats or bird feeders and put a note that says, I'm good because I don't ruffle feathers when it comes to real estate. I really appreciate your referrals. Or April, you can go to like a Christmas tree shop, which by the way is where Ann Silverman does a great deal of her shopping for items of value. Basically what she looks for is little things that are not extremely expensive that she can buy a bunch of, and then put a little tagline that makes it so people remember her. She wants to wow people. The dollar store is another one, or Dollar General. Doesn't have to be something crazy, just these little things that get people to remember you. So like April, you could do like gardening stuff. Your referrals keep my business in bloom. I really appreciate your referrals. July, we did this for the whole company. 4th of July, we bought these firework glasses. So they easily fit into an envelope so that you can mail them out and people's kids can watch the fireworks with their special 3D fireworks glasses. October, leaf bags. Don't leaf your friends and family scattered. When it comes to real estate, refer them to me and a smooth deal is in the bag. There is a website where you can get all kinds of ideas like this. It is popbyideas.com. And you'll find all kinds of inexpensive little ideas, stuff you can give away. Another place where many of our agents use is send out cards. Send out cards is a system where you can easily send out small items of value like gift cards or cookies, things like that. That is going to be a more expensive option than going to a Christmas tree store or a Dollar General. But sometimes people like it because it's more convenient. You can put all of your database in there and send the gifts at the same time. Now, one of the things people say to me, especially if you've been through the Brian Buffini program, Brian Buffini is a huge advocate of you doing pop-bys every month. So that means actually going out and visiting a set number of clients on a regular basis. And we have real estate agents that have built phenomenal businesses using that system. Nancy Rogers in our Chelmsford office has built a massive, phenomenal $25 million a year business, and she still does pop-bys, where she'll go buy these little items of value, stick them in her car, and she'll spend a day going out and visiting all of her past clients. Nancy is phenomenal at making sure she has an organized database and she's staying in front of people. I think pop-bys is great, and if you have the time to do it, great. But I would also just purchase stuff that you could easily mail. So if you get super busy and you just can't get out and visit people, at least you're still staying in touch. The other piece, I just know in our business that as things get busy, you have less time to go out and do stuff. Plan out your entire year or 2 years or 3 years of what you're going to do. Make it so that they're easily mailable. And the great thing about doing mail versus a pop-by, it's very easy to scale. It's easy to systematize. It's easy to delegate it to somebody else, to have somebody, an admin, say, can you take care of getting these out for me? And then the other piece to that is many of your clients don't want you showing up at their front door with an item. They would much prefer that you just mail them something and they'll remember that. So if we want to take our mailers to the next level, one great idea is that when you do those big bumpy mailers is to just call the person afterwards. So if you have a mailer going out this week with Halloween bags to 100 people, then I would time block some time to call all 100 people next week and say, hey, just wanted to touch base and make sure you got the Halloween bags I sent for the family. By the way, while I have you, if you know of anybody looking to buy or sell a house, I would really love your referral. If you're not going to do that, there's services. One of them that I've used in the past is called Sly Broadcast. Sly Broadcast is an app where you have to pay for it, but you could just record that message. Hi, this is Stacy calling from LAER Realty. Just wanted to make sure you got the small item or the Halloween bags that I sent you this week. Hope you're doing well. You're still enjoying the house. If you know of anybody looking to buy or sell a house, please feel free to call me anytime. You upload your database from a spreadsheet, your phone numbers, and they'll just put that message into everybody's voicemail. So you don't have to sit and call each person. So literally you could send out 1,000 messages in less than 5 minutes by using a system like Sly Broadcast. But I will say that you'll increase your conversion rates by, instead of just mailing, that you also partner that up and have some sort of phone call, either a broadcast message that goes out to your people, or that you just sit and spend a few hours calling people to make sure they got it. And then I just went through the script. Good morning, it's your favorite real estate agent, Stacy, just calling to say hello. Just sent you a little gift in the mail as a token of my appreciation. No need to call me back. I just wanted to say hello. If you ever think of anyone that's looking to buy or sell a home, please reach out to me and I'll make sure they are well taken care of. As far as your A-list, I strongly recommend that like every November, December, as you're getting ready for the next year, that you review that list closely and say, is there anybody that should be on my A-list that isn't on my A-list? And then sometimes you might want to remove people. So if 3 years go by and you've been marketing to this A-list and you have a group of people that just haven't responded or you haven't heard from in a while, let's move them to the B list. We're not going to delete them all together. We're going to still stay in touch with that B list. We're just not going to spend as much money staying in touch with the the B list as we would the A list. So let's talk about that B list. B list is really anybody you know. So acquaintances, people you meet throughout the day, you go to a networking event, you meet somebody, you get a business card, stick it into your B list. It is literally anybody that you meet on a daily basis. You should be collecting names and email addresses and addresses if you can. All of those go into a B list. The B list will get emails from you monthly. So we're going to stick them into a drip campaign so they get an email from you at every holiday. You might send them a holiday card 2 or 3 times a year, like a Thanksgiving card, a 4th of July card, and a Halloween card. So make sure to send stuff to them 2 to 3 times a year and definitely do email drips. So who goes into the B list? Definitely all past customers, all vendors. You guys have, I think the people that we forget to market to all the time are the home inspectors, the appraisers, the attorneys that we do business with. And it's interesting. I was talking to an agent the other day and he said, oh, my mortgage guy never sends me any referrals. And I said, do you market to him? Like, is he in your database? And he's like, no, but sometimes I refer him business. And I said, well, you should treat him like a A-list person and put him on your mailing list, send him items of value. And I guarantee you will stick out because none of the other people that he works with remember to put the vendors on the list. So put all of your vendors you do business with on your B list. Call through your Facebook and say, who are the people that should be on my B list, getting my emails all the time? All your friends, all of your family, literally I feel like everybody you meet that you might want to do business with should be on that B list. We have some great systems for doing email drips. Boston Logic has a CRM system, and also the LAER marketing portal has a great CRM system. The LAER marketing portal, you can make it so that you just put a name and email address in, and that client or a potential client will get an email from you every holiday. 27 times a year, they'll get an email from you wishing them a happy holiday. When it comes to dripping stuff, all I would say is just don't drip like useless information. If you're going to put people into an email campaign, send them information that they really would see some value with. Definitely, I think the holiday campaigns are great because just wishing somebody a happy holiday is not spam. The other piece is that as you're sorting your database, not a bad idea to sort, for example, and if you're using a system like the LAER marketing portal, you can put people into different groups. So like having all the people that are golfers in one group, having all the people that have little kids in another group. The reason for that is that every once in a while you can wow somebody simply with like a coupon that you found online. So the local golf course is running a buy one, get one free special. Kind of cool just for you to reach out because that shows you're really thinking about somebody. Like you thought that they would appreciate knowing about a special at a golf course because you kept that little information about them. Other stuff that people love to hear about is anything about their community. People always love like what's happening, where are the best firework displays, the Easter egg hunts, or other events. They like to know where are the best beaches, best restaurant reviews, best places to go with kids, best picnicking parks. In future classes, I talk about how great it is and how important it is to be blogging in business. This is all the stuff you should be blogging about if you want to create search engine results for your website. But at the same time, the blogs that you write about this information can be used as part of your email drip campaigns to your list. Drips should go out at least monthly so that you're constantly staying in front of them. The holiday cards should go out 2 to 3 times a year. Thanksgiving, New Year's, 4th of July. I try to say send at a time where you're most likely to get noticed. That's why you'll see I've omitted holiday cards. In my opinion, people get so many holiday cards that they don't even notice it. Kind of like wishing somebody happy birthday on Facebook is almost useless because you'll go on their wall at 8 o'clock in the morning and there's already 90 happy birthday wishes. That person has no idea who's even wished them a happy birthday. So think about, just be strategic. Say, when am I going to get the most bang for my buck? Thanksgiving, New Year's, 4th of July. And then I also say it's always a good idea to do one stickable mailer per year. So that is like a Red Sox calendar, a Patriots calendar, or just these little calendars that you can stick your business card on. People hang them on their fridge. And it makes it easy when they need their real estate agent. They can say, oh, I have so-and-so's card. It's on the fridge, on the magnet. So build out your A-list strategy and your B-list strategy. Now, the one thing I'll say about the A-list, we talked about doing those bumpy mailers to your A-list. I also say everything you do for your B-list, which was the emails, the one sticky mailer, all of that should also be done for your A-list. So your A-list is getting everything that the B-list is getting. The B-list is just not getting like the bumpy mailers, the items of value that are sometimes more expensive than the other stuff that you can do. As you plan out your strategy, literally plan a whole year out in advance. Buy all of your supplies. That's how you will most likely get it done. Instead of waiting and saying, oh, I'll do it in 2 months, I'll figure out the next thing. You will get busy in your business, and this is where so many agents end up falling. They have great intentions to do all these things for their database, and then they tell themselves, oh, I'll do it, my next mailing in 2 months, and then a year goes by, and that second mailing never got out. So buy all of your supplies, map out an entire year in advance, so you know that your stuff is getting out there. So your B list is going to hear from you 6 to 7 times each year between your email and mailers. That's more than enough. Your A list is going to hear from you almost every single month for 3 years if you practice it and put it together this way, because the A list is getting 6 mail, 75 archiving fans in our unpaid sales force. Some great books to read when it comes to building a database and marketing. Purple Cow by Seth Godin, great book on how to stand out as a marketer. Also, No BS Marketing to the Affluent and No BS Guide to Marketing to Boomers and Seniors. Both of those books are by Dan Kennedy, who is a renowned marketer. So that is it for our program on databases and mining for gold.